Hello folks, and welcome to Linux for Seniors. Linux is for any age, but the name of my channel is Linux for Seniors. I do recommend that you subscribe. This video is going to be about born-again shell apps. I have two of them today for you. I'll show you the complete process on how to write this. One is a network tool that has 2-in-1, and the other one's a weather. And these are all born-again shell apps. Linux for Seniors should see an icon floating above your time and date area. Now, I've had two people so far in the last 2 months tell me that that icon is missing. That normally means you're watching my video on someone else's channel. And I'm sure by the time the person sent me those messages, they figured that out. But I replied back to them saying that normally that means you're watching my videos on someone else's channel. So that's why I tossed up this watermark, just in case you're missing that. Then you can look me up on YouTube. This wallpaper with this computer guy came from wallpaperswide.com. He's staring into his screen. Filming in 1920 by 1080, so you can adjust your YouTube player accordingly. Linux Mint 21.3 Cinnamon. So I got a pretty favorable result on these two videos, so I decided to do two more. So today's video is going to be about a weather bash app, and the other one is a network tool that uses 2-in-1. The MTR tool is actually available for you to run directly out of terminal, but I'm going to show you how to use it and write it into an application if you like. Same thing goes with the Weather Bash app. This is actually using curl, and it's using a tool that actually is maintained by another person. So this is a weather born-again shell app, and I do recommend that you run this in full screen, so I highlighted it in green. It is asking for the name of the city. You could put in London for the example, but if it's in the United States, then put in like Los Angeles, but with LOS_Angeles, CA for California. So if I do London, for instance, or Paris or whatever, you're going to get that result, okay? So this is not me. This is a person that is in control or works with this tool here called WTTR.in. Okay, so just wanted to make mention of that. But more importantly, the tool itself, all I did was I wrote something around it. So the tool is using the curl command using WTTR.in. And you'll see that at the end of this video. But this doesn't make any sense to you right now. Maybe it does now. That's why I recommend full screen. So I have the weather for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I've actually seen where this is a lightning storm and it actually is moving. So it's kind of a cool effect. All right, so right here is my biggest clue of what I'm looking at. Here's the location, Greater London, England, UK. And the rest of the information here. Morning, noon, evening, night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday weather. Down at the bottom, those are the codes that I wrote. This part of this is the curl command with the WTTR.in. It runs all by itself inside of the script. All right, down where the dash is where my script restarts. It says to press close or X in the terminal window. In other words, that blue thing over here. All I'm doing is making mention of how to get out of it. But if you don't want to get out of it, that's why I put an or, then you press enter for the next city when you're ready. So I'm going to do that. And then it produces the green line again and the yellow box. So I will put in San_Diego California. And allow it to search for San Diego, California. I'll go full screen. And you can see the location down here. What if you put in bad information? Well, let me do that. Let's just throw that up there. We have a 404. Unknown location. Doesn't like it. Not a good thing. It doesn't hose up the script though, but it just is bad information. So I'm going to hit enter. So I'm going to put in Portland, but if you are not familiar with this, if you're in the United States, Portland has not only the Portland, Oregon, but there's also the Portland, Maine one. And there's, I think, a couple of more. So that's why I would recommend putting states in there. Okay, so that's Portland, comma, OR. And there is Portland, Multnomah County, Oregon. Weather information. All right, X in the corner. I'll show you the script in a minute. So the next one is a tool that will give away personal information. So I made a couple of screenshots doing this because I don't want to show that personal information. But I will talk about this tool first, and I'll also talk about this one. So basically that script I just showed you is using a curl command. And this next script over here is going to be using MTR. Now we can do an MAN space MAN to understand what man pages are. I'll make this bigger for you if you have never done this. So it's an interface to reference manuals, manual pages, man pages. Q to quit. Scrolling with your mouse if you need to go look for more goodies. I'm going to hit Q, and then I'm going to type in MAN space MTR so you understand what the command does. It's a network diagnostic tool. It uses both traceroute and ping, and I'll show ping by itself also. I'm going to hit Q. MAN curl. Curl is a very extensive command. It's for transferring data to and from a server. That's why I was able to get that weather information. Okay. Q to quit. MTR all by itself I can display. But the normal usage you would do MTR for is that. And you would hit enter. And it'll show you the information about your computer, your ISP, and the route to get to Amazon.com. I'm actually going to show you that in screenshots. However, I'm going to redact the information about my personal network. But you can run MTR all by itself and it will ping your own machine. So I will do that. And this is an interactive tool, just like the curl tool with WTTR-IN. It also has its own tools. I just made it into an app. So right now it's continually sending. I have a t-shirt that is sitting in my drawer that's kind of getting ratty, but it's a corny t-shirt. There's no place like 127.0.0.1. There's no place like home, is what that t-shirt refers to. I know it's corny. Anyways, H for help. I can press P for pause and any key to return back to the menu. So now you can see that it's sending packets. It's 43, 44. I'm going to hit P and stop it at 45. And then I'm going to hit the space bar and it starts again. If I hit the R, it starts all over again. Now it's back to 1. I can also do order. And then I can also do display mode. You just hit D continuously. And it cycles between a couple of different modes. And then over here is the biggest clue of them all, which is Q to quit, which I made actually a reference to in the actual application. But when you're pinging it'll have your IP address across here. The IP address, let's assume this is Amazon maybe or Google. It'll have that IP address here. And then it starts with your router, gateway, your out to the real world, and your ISP, and then all the way down the list. And then it'll show you loss, sent, last, average, best, worst, and that. And then there's a timestamp over here if you decide to do a screenshot. You can always copy all of this information by, first of all, I'm going to hit P to stop this. Once I got it paused, you can always copy this directly and paste it into a text file. All right, now let me show you what the thing looks like. So the first thing it does is in green, it's a network diagnostic tool using ping and traceroute. All right, and I'm just going to use Amazon.com. So if the address exists, it should be good to go. If the address does not exist, it'll give you an error. So do we know what DNS is? If not, it's the yellow pages of the internet. Everything that your web browser uses in the background is resolved to a number. So we as humans use Amazon.com. That's not how the computers talk. They first need an IP address, then it's negotiated between the source and your computer, like your bank, for instance, or Amazon in this case. So it's resolved to a number. So I wrote the script to ping this only once. So one ping and one ping only. I'm trying to remember the movie. I think it was Red October that little line came from. So all I did was ping it once. I received, but I got an IP number on it. The next statement it's saying press enter when for the MTR results. So if I press enter at this point, it'll give me a display, just like I showed you earlier, but not with my home machine. It'll show you a path and a route to Amazon.com, starting with your home computer, through your ISP, your internet service provider, through the several gateways until it reaches Amazon.com. And you can see the whole path. And it'll give you all the statistics and everything else the MTR tool provides. I'm not going to hit that because it'll expose my personal information to you. The press Q to end just means that when I'm in MTR, you saw that earlier, there was the Q to quit. That's what I'm referring to here. So now I'm going to have to show you screenshots. All right, so I redacted the personal information. So we started with a screen, enter a web address, and it gets translated into a number, like this is Amazon. And keep in mind, some of these bigger entities, their numbers do change because they have lots of servers. And this is the standard output. This one happens to be Amazon. You can see that this part here would be the name of your computer, the IP address for your computer, the IP address of this Amazon.com currently, and all of these keys are interactive, like H for help or Q to quit. Gateway, modem, ISP, internet service provider, and all the way down the line. I just hit pause after it sent out 8 packets. Last, average, best, worst, and so forth. So that's the standard output of MTR. Here's another example downstairs. So I did the screenshot with the help screen again, P for pause. And here's another output for Google.com. So gateway, modem, out, and this one was waiting. And you can see that there was 10 packets sent on most of these, except I terminated that after this after this started on the 9th one over here. Last, average, best, worst. Current IP address to Google. Your internet or your IP address will appear here. And keep in mind, the tool itself, when it runs inside the script, is actually interactive with the MTR tool. The MTR tool takes over the script after. As soon as you hit quit, then it returns back to the script. Does that make sense? It's kind of like if you're going in a line state and it says go over to here, do something, and then come back. That's basically how this works. Okay. This screenshot here is after I exited the quit command or the Q, after I got my MTR results. It does not post it to the screen. If you need those results, you can always highlight them with your computer mouse and right-click and copy and paste them into a text file. It does work well if you need that kind of information. Okay, so hopefully you've got enough info on the screenshots, and hopefully you understand why I did that instead of showing you the whole tool, because it does expose my personal information. So let's open up these script files and let's see what they look like. So Paul is just a made-up name. It's a user that I create different usernames just for different purposes, but more importantly, documents and the script folder. You can put these things wherever you want them. Okay, so I have, on my previous videos, I showed you how to guess somebody's birthday. I called it CalTask, disk information, RAM information, and some other stuff. I think some of these things are using rsync for backups, and hopefully you've seen some of those videos, but this one is for the weather. So these are all written in a text editor. So if you want to open up your standard text editor, you can, but I also have Kate installed. And the reason I like Kate, because it has a nice highlighting features. When you get done writing these script files, you make sure that they're allowed to be executed as a program. Okay. And before I get going to show you this, I'm going to show you how to make a shortcut to these things. So I'm going to create another one for the weather thing. So I'm going to right click, create new launcher, and we're just going to call that bash weather. I don't know. Spelling doesn't even count. Let's find a nicer icon than the rocket. Now, when you type in weather, you have the sunshine, you have the black and white ones, you have some color ones downstairs. Here's one with sun, and whatever you want to pick. I'll just pick that one. All right, now that I have a name and an icon, we need a command or we need a file for you to process the launcher. Otherwise, this does not go okay. This is fine. Now, let's do the browse for that script file. It's in Documents, Scripts. It's called Weather Curl. And you'll understand why I called it that in a minute. And you can put in comments or not. Launch in terminal, because this does require that to be launched in terminal for you to see the effects. When you hit OK, it's going to ask you a question. Do you want this in your Mint menu? 99% of the time you want to answer yes. If you answer no, this will be your only icon. So I'm going to answer yes. When I do that, that icon is now in here, bash weather, or whatever name you gave it. Now you can add it to your panel, desktop, or favorites, or even drag the thing down here. Okay, so I'm going to launch it just to let you see that it works. Okay, so I'll get rid of that. I don't need that. Even if I get rid of this, it's still in my menu until I uninstall it. Okay, so right click, uninstall, hit yes, and it's gone. So let's open this thing up. Anytime you got the properties set as a program, you should say 4 dialog boxes: run in terminal, display, cancel, or run. I am not going to open it with the standard text editor. I'm going to use Kate. And the reason I'm using Kate, it has line numbers, but at the same time, when I highlight things, whenever it finds things in the menus, it'll highlight them. So now I'll make this larger for you. Line 1 is bin bash. That's required when you start writing script files if they're born again shell scripts. So pound exclamation point, no space, /bin / bash. Born again shell is what that stands for. So I'm going to highlight while space colon do. And when I do that, this 18 line lights up. And the reason for that is because this is a loop. From line 3 is a blank on 4. It runs all these commands and then it loops back around and starts all over again. However, when you have read P lines, that means they're going to pause and wait for your input. So other than the exception of line 1, this is called a pound symbol in the United States. And if you don't mind, I'll make this a little wider and reduce the font so you'll see this whole line kind of extended. So these, again, pound symbols in the United States is what we call remarks. Some people call them hash, and there might be some other names for this symbol. But anytime you see that, normally it's just whatever the person that is writing these scripts or programs is trying to tell you about it. So this is a weather curl app. Now, why is it called a curl app? Because it uses a curl command. Okay, I wrote that in there. So what is curl? Time for the large. MAN, manual pages. Curl. Curl, it's a transfer URL, Universal Resource Locator. It's a tool for transferring data to and from a server. In this case, we're using WTTR.in. So there is a maintainer for that. There's a person that maintained that. You actually saw that in there. So when I actually opened this earlier, and I'll just type in Paris, as in France, and hit enter, and I'm still waiting for it to return. There we go. And that guy's in purple or whatever color that is Igor. This is not me. This is the person who is involved with this. So that line there I did not put in, and you won't find it anywhere in the script. But it's part of this process right here, is what that is. And so anyways, you can follow Igor and find out what he does with WTTR.in. So all it does is it takes and prints these in color. So this one here is a 42M. Down here it explains that the color is green and whatever text you type in here. And then it gets converted back to black and white text. So you'll see the 33 here, here, and also explained here, which is normal text color. Now the normal terminal boxes for Linux Mint is black background, white text. That's what I meant by normal. Okay. So down here, this is an echo-e line versus this is a regular echo line. The regular echo lines are just used for spaces. So when I run the weather app thing, you'll notice that the top, it skips a space and then it highlights this thing in green. That would be the 3342M. Okay, and then it goes and skips a line, hence another echo line, and then it prints out enter city name. Also in yellow, this time it's a code 43 instead of 42. And then there's a read P with an equal sign here. All this is it has the equal sign waiting for you to enter information as the user. The user enters information that goes into a holding tank called city. It's just a made-up name. You can type whatever you want in here, but make it understandable to you. All right, so the input is $city is how it processes that. It originally reads that from you, the input, the user, and then it processes it here in the curl command. The curl command takes the city and process that whole line is the whole script right here. The rest of this is really just all fluff. And you can actually use this whole thing in terminal. So I'm going to close that and actually run this whole thing right out of terminal without any of this stuff. This is curl WTTR.in. You just have to know what these things do. I'll type in London and hit enter. All right. All this stuff looks identical to what my script does, except it just gives you a dollar prompt. Okay, so you don't know what to do from here, right? Well, that's why I wrote the script that way. So all this is informational stuff. So and as soon as it processes the city, it displays it, then it skips a line, then it puts some dashes in there, and then it converts the text to what's 44? I think it's blue. 44 is the color blue. That's the background color. That highlights the text in blue. All right, and then it says press close the X on the terminal window, in other words, this guy, for exit. Or press enter for the next city when ready. Now this is another read P and it does not have an input. You can put whatever, you don't have to put a thing in there. All you got to do is press enter. And then it jumps to this line and cycles way back to the top again. Keep in mind, this is a loop. It just keeps looping, providing you wrote the script correctly. This should work over and over again, including bad addresses. All right. Okay, we have a 404 error. It didn't like it. But that's okay, I didn't crash my script. So, I don't know. We'll do Paris again. I think it's easy enough. And there's the info for Paris, and it's valid because we can see the location is valid. Okay. Pull that back down, close that. So we're at, again, we're in a loop here. So really, this is the most important part of the script. This is all used for information and color. Down here, the pound symbols explain things. The exit statement is just used for a safety factor, just in case something goes wrong. The weather app again, is for city or city and state. And the input for the city names with two names like Los Angeles, use the underscore. So it would become Los underscore Angeles. And don't forget about the California part. All right, so if you badly spell your cities, it's not going to find them. Okay, and again, the app uses WTTRIN, and you can see that up there to process the curl command. The read P, there are two of them in here. One actually has an input to it called city, which it processes here. And the other one is a blank P, which is waiting for a pause. It's waiting for you to press enter with no, I'm not putting anything assigned to it. This is assigned to city. This is assigned to nothing. All it does is wait for you to press. Okay? So again, the input is the $city. That's what processes the curl command. And then you have the color, which is the normal color, which is highlighted in looks like three places. The 42M is highlighted green in one place. The color yellow is 43M, and it's only in that line. And the last one is blue, which is in this line only. Not perfect, but have fun. So that's the script in a nutshell. Okay. I highly suggest you subscribe if you're going to try this on your own, so you can do some troubleshooting with your script in case you made errors. Let me take the MTR one apart. Actually using also Kate, because again it has line numbers and it highlights. All right, we have bin bash at the top. I have right off the bat I started with a comment line. So the comment explanation point on line 1 is the exception. This actually processes. This one does not. This one just is a comment. So this is a tool that uses traceroute and ping. And you can see more information at the bottom. All right, while do, what does that do again? It starts a loop, ends with done. Exit is the safety factor, and again, here's all the pound symbols for the explanation. So basically, all of this is just describing things. All right, so this one uses the echo E, change the color to 42M. In this case, 42M is the color green. And type in whatever you want to in here. Read P is going to be enter human name for website like google.com or something ... And the ADDR1 is the input line for ping and MTR. So it's using two functions. So whatever you typed in like google.com is stored in this holding tank until you're ready to use it. And it's going to be used right here. So it's going to ping that with a -C1. That means ping it only once. If you change that number to 2, it'll ping it twice. If you change it to 5, it'll be 5 times. Here's an example of a ping command. Amazon.com. It will continually ping that until I hit Control-C or exit. If I wanted to only ping that once, okay, maybe this is too small for you. Then I'm going to type in PING space -C space 1 and then Amazon.com. If I don't type it in correctly, I get a bad address. One packet and one packet only. Because all I'm doing here is getting a name resolution to an IP address. That's all I care about in here. And what it does is it takes this same input and processes also here. Right now, this is a read P that does not have anything that it's asking for other than for you to press enter. So when it does, it processes the MTR command, which is using ping and traceroute. And it takes the input of ADDR1 or add1, ADD1, not R, because that's the input line. This was the holding tank. So it used it here and also here. This is just a print line. Down at the bottom, there's some more fluff, some echo with quotes. That means skip a line. And then this part here is just telling you to close the app if you're done. with a dash going across there. Okay, so when it hits done, it cycles the loop again. If it has a problem, it exits, and these are the explanations. So this app is used for network information for websites. The tool uses both ping and traceroute, which is MTR. Ping is used to query internet name server. In other words, the Google.coms and the Amazon.coms. And this is a repeat of that. So the tool is interactive, and it does use H for help, just as an example. And you can get information on the tool itself when you're running it. The read Ps, again, there's that one there and that one there. That's one of the reasons I like Kate to show this kind of stuff on videos, because it highlights everything that it matches. So here's the 42M, and that is being used at the top. Okay, and then the 33 is the yellow, which is found on that line. Okay, so I repeated myself a couple of times here. Q to quit, P to pause, and also C, H for help. So again, have fun with this also. I will roll that back and make this larger for you. Again, I do recommend subscription if you're going to do this on your own. All of these commands are just fluff. You can do all of this right out of terminal. Okay. So at this point, I will say thank you for watching.